Welcome to the Esthetician Coach Podcast, a podcast for estheticians that are ready to grow and scale their business to the next level. I'm your host and esthetician coach, Amber Boone. Join me each week for education, inspiration, and guided support to help you create a successful business and career on your terms. Welcome back to another episode of the Esthetician Coach Podcast. Today, we are diving into why getting rejected can be the best thing for your success. You've probably heard rejection is protection. And another good one that I love to hate, rejection's not failure, it's redirection. But when you're getting rejected, that's the last thing you want to hear. We're human. And rejection hurts sometimes, if not all the time, right? It's hard not to take it personally because at times it feels really personal, and that's okay. Sometimes we need to deal with those feelings because it's normal to have feelings as a human in whatever way that we need. The most important thing, though, is that we don't unpack and live in that feeling of fear, but we choose to move forward. And rejection can be one of our greatest teachers. And for me, it's been the key to growth and expansion in my personal life as well as my professional life. But we want to ultimately use it as a stepping stone in our journey rather than hold on to it as a fear and let it stop us from moving forward. One thing that I can guarantee is that every successful person that you know has faced rejection not once, but multiple times in their life. It's one of the things that we all have in common. Everybody's faced rejection. And for me personally, I know I have been rejected way more times than I can count. So what has made me who I am and continued to progress in my career and my relationships is that I don't live in that fear of rejection. I don't live in that space. I don't let the fear of rejection stop me from making my next move or asking for that sale. The sooner we get used to viewing rejection as a necessary part of our success and life, the faster we can process and deal with it and move past it. Hearing no will never feel good to us, but it's when we can learn from it and refine our approach that builds resilience. Reframing rejection requires us to shift our mindset and reframe what rejection actually means. And more often than not, rejection isn't personal. It's not about us. It's often about timing, fear, or other things that we may have no idea about. And we may not really have the full picture on the situation. And one thing that I use and that I started telling myself to move past rejection faster, and this was when I was an esthetician working on commission only. So I was having to ask for those upsells and for those product sales, but I also loved that because I knew it would obviously help my clients get better results. But is that every no gets you closer to a yes? Because I'm not going to get a yes every time for various reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with me. But in my job and in sales, which all of us are in sales, whether you're willing to admit that to yourself or not, but this is just how the process works. I saw a story from another coach online, and I believe she was a salon owner, and they had several add-ons that they were really wanting to start promoting so they could increase their sales, increase their business. But the problem was no one on her team was promoting them. So she was racking her brain trying to figure out, okay, how can I get them excited about promoting these add-ons and asking? So she started this brilliant contest. They created an add-on list. So they had this add-on list or form. And once they showed the add-on list to a client and they received a no, they got a point. And the person with the most points at the end of each week got a prize, a really good prize that they wanted to incentivize them. I thought that this was so creative because it's teaching you to get used to hearing no and it not being a big deal. On to the next. In fact, they were probably hoping for a no, which completely takes the fear out of the equation, out of the asking. But the lessons that rejection can teach us are molding us into who we need to be as a person and in our business or career. But what I like about rejection is that it forces me to evaluate and improve my approach in the future. So you start to think, okay, how can I make my sales pitch better? Or how can I craft a service menu that my clients can't say no to? Or if you are getting no's consistently, it's clearly not your target audience. So let's go back to the drawing board. Who is your target audience? Who are you trying to reach? And how can you reach them better? So it brings up all these questions in order to make our business better, make us better. So it just really requires us to sit down and evaluate where we are and what we're doing, and sometimes change that for the better. But ideally, we want to take this rejection and do some self-reflection and see where we can get better, see where we can do those things better, and let it be a teacher, a guide. When we look at it from that perspective, it's going to strengthen our ability to persevere and grow. It's going to give us that resilience that we need to keep moving forward and to take our business to the next level. Rejection can very easily point us in a better direction or put us on a better path that we didn't know existed, an opportunity that maybe we wouldn't have thought of without that rejection, that maybe we wouldn't have pursued. So the next time that you get rejected, you're going to pause and reflect. So don't react emotionally, but take time to process it, whatever that looks like for you. So if possible, ask why the answer was no to learn and improve. And I do this all the time personally because I genuinely want to know, is it something I can improve or do differently? Is it a fear that's coming up for them that they have that maybe I can address and help them with? Because we never truly know why someone gives us a no without asking. So sometimes I think we just take the no and we're like, okay, well, thanks. See ya. Bye. But instead, dive into that no a little bit and say, well, can I ask why you said no? And that will give you so much insight into what you need to do to focus on, why the answer was no, how you can improve, and how you can get closer to that yes. And also you want to, celebrate your courage and your effort and focus on that fact that you tried and you gained experience from that. So acknowledge the bravery it takes to put yourself out there, because it does take a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to ask sometimes, especially in the beginning when you're getting used to it. So it takes a lot to put yourself up there. So acknowledge that. I mean, that's a huge step in and of itself, no matter what the outcome or answer is. And even if it's not exactly what you hoped for, you took a step toward growth. And that in itself is worth celebrating every time. And just remember that rejection is going to be part of your journey to success. And I said earlier, every no is going to get you closer to that yes. So hold on to that. Repeat that to yourself, remind yourself, focus on that bigger picture. Keep your goals in mind. A single rejection doesn't define your overall journey. So remind yourself of why you do what you do, why you show up every day. What are you passionate about? And let that passion always, always outweigh your fear and teach you what you need to do to succeed. So my challenge for you this week is to offer a service add-on or a product to every client you see. Who can you reach out to in your past client list to ask them if they want to schedule a service with you? Maybe if you don't have a completely full book, maybe you're reaching out to those past clients that you haven't seen in 2 or 3 months. You're sending out that email, or you're texting them personally, calling them even. And I know calling is old school, but sometimes we need to pick up the phone and call and talk to someone and ask them, hey, I've got some openings on my schedule this week. Would you like to come in for a treatment? So the more you face rejection, the less intimidating it is going to become. So that's my challenge for you this week, to get those no's that get you closer to a yes. And the real reason rejection fuels success is that if you allow rejection to push you out of your comfort zone, it makes you courageous and it teaches you lessons to be a better version of yourself every single day. So use rejection as a tool to continue to grow yourself and your business. And my quote for you today: rejection is part of the journey toward success. Don't be insulted or get upset when it happens. In fact, get excited about how you just got closer to your yes. And I loved sharing this episode with you because I've personally grown so much from every rejection in my life. It continues to push me. It continues to teach and stretch me in ways that I didn't even know I needed. And I would love to hear your stories of how rejection has molded you and what lessons you have learned from it along the way. Send them to me. Find me on Instagram at Esthetician Coach with an A, or find other ways to connect with me in the show notes. But I'm wishing you the most successful week and happy holidays. And I will see you back here same time next week.